Welcome everyone to the Collector Chatter podcast. This is episode 24. I am your host Miggs and my co-host Charlie, and we are here with another great episode for you guys. Today we are going to center the second half of the episode around another line in Funko, which is going to be the Funko Pop Rocks line, which is essentially Funko's music line and anything that has to do with like music and artists and bands and stuff. And yeah, I'm very excited for that because I think it's a pretty cool line. But we will start off with like kind of just news and rumors, that we normally do. Nothing too heavy this time, so we'll probably be able to get through them pretty quick. But we'll start off with a little bit of news. Charlie, is anything that kind of caught your eye this last week or so?
Yeah, the biggest thing that really come out, which I know we've talked about in the rumor section in the past, but we saw an image was for the Toy Story VHS cover.
Yeah.
I think that looks really awesome. We got to see the first one in that line with the Lion King one during the Festival of Fun and Target Con, which we were going to talk about. That was going to have a
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast one, and now it looks like this is the third one that we've seen officially for Toy Story. It's Woody, and he's holding like the binoculars, and it's
Yeah.
got the classic, VHS cover behind it. I really like this line, and I really am enjoying that they kept it, the smaller size rather than the huge ones that
Mm-hmm.
we talked about the movie posters are going to be.
Yeah, that was one thing that we didn't know what either of them were going to look like, and then once the movie poster one came out, we saw how big it was. We were kind of worried that hopefully the other ones aren't
Yeah.
like that. So I guess that kind of differentiates the VHS cover and then the actual movie poster. But yeah, it's classic. I mean, right off the bat, like the one you said that we got that's going to be coming is the Woody one, which of course is Toy Story, and it's awesome. It's a classic Toy Story cover. If you remember getting the VHS with Buzz flying, like that cover. I like it though because I find it interesting that it's so they're taking one character, at least for now. They're taking one of the characters. So we got Woody, and like you said, he's got the binocular things, and it's like it's cool because he's obviously like the main one. But I'm glad that they're not like doing every single person that's on the cover. Like it's still the regular
Yep.
cover, and then there's going to be that one pop in the front. I just found it interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, and it's with all three of them that you got the cover that says like the movie and whatever, and then you have the pop, and then the actual title at the bottom is the name of the character from the pop.
I didn't notice that.
So yeah, so like his says Woody. I originally don't noticed it with the Beauty and the Beast. Hers says Belle. So which I thought was kind of interesting because it's like it's the cover. You would think it would say the name of the actual like
Movie.
movie, but it doesn't. It shows like who is on it. So like I thought it was a little weird, but I mean I kind of get it, but I guess it's just literally telling you who the pop is because it says because it's the same thing with Lion King. It says
You're
Simba.
right. Now that
It's
yeah,
like Simba on Pride Rock, I think is what it
it is.
says.
I think that's yeah, that's strange. Actually, I don't know why they had to
Yeah,
do that.
I
Um,
thought it
I
was a little odd.
I do like though that they're sticking. It looks like all new molds. Like it was hard to tell if the Simba one
Yeah,
was, but they definitely have never made a Woody one that looks like this. And I mean, the Bell probably looks similar to other ones that they've made, but they're at least trying to make them a new pop, kind of how I think they were doing with the comic covers. The only
yeah,
thing
it seems like they are.
the one gripe I have though is I don't like that out of the first three, two of them are store exclusives. Or no, I guess all three of them are. I don't like that there's a sticker on these. As weird as that sounds,
Yeah,
it just like it takes away from like the image. I don't know. Like I don't like having it's a poster pop. I don't like having the sticker on it. And I'm one, if you've heard that, like everyone, listen past, like, I don't mind the stickers. I like them for the most
yeah,
part when it's for the pops, but I just think it takes away of the aesthetic of it.
yeah. I get it. I actually kind of agree. I think mostly, especially with the Toy Story one's an Amazon exclusive sticker, and that's a pretty big sticker.
Yeah.
So like that's
Which the
like
Lion
a
King is
square.
too. So
Yeah,
they
those
all,
two are
yeah,
pretty big, and then the other one's what Target because it's
which
part
is
of
probably
Target
going to
Con.
have two stickers on it.
Oh, because of the Target Con. Yeah, that's true. So that's yeah. If you're like, there's like you said, there's obviously people that love stickers and are sticker people. So like that's a good thing for you guys. But I agree. Like it kind of takes away from like the whole thing. I get it though because obviously it's an exclusive to a specific store, and anything that's an exclusive always has that somewhat of whatever the sticker is. But I'm interested in the line. I wonder if they're gonna stick with Disney. Obviously, it's been Disney right now, so I wonder if they're gonna stick with that because to me, I feel like that makes the most sense. It'll probably lend the best to making pops of these. but they are pretty, as like you said, I think they're all new molds. Even if the Bell one maybe is redone, it may not be. It could be something slightly different, but they are pretty cool. The Woody one is definitely really cool. But yeah, I just found it interesting. It's like they picked the one character, they put his name on it or hers or whoever it is, and it's not like the movie. So like I thought it was a little weird, but I do want to see what these look like in person. They look a little more square, which is kind of like the albums, which I thought they would be more like the comic cover, like because
Yep,
VHS is kind of more rectangular, but they look like they're more like squared,
they
which I
do.
thought was a
You're
little
right.
interesting.
And it
But
does.
I guess we'll see these.
Speaking of the pops, though, it now out of you see the first three, it does seem like they are picking the like quote unquote lead of the movie. Like all three of
Yeah.
them are the three main characters. So you would probably expect that, down the line, even if it's an ensemble type cast, which all these movies are. So you're probably only just going to get the one main character.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, it does.
That's probably what it should be. But yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest news things for sure. Kind of like going off of that, I know you mentioned Target Con, so we can kind of go into that. So Target Con, of course, happened. We spoke about it in the past where that it was coming, and then it it kind of came and went. I don't think it was overwhelmingly great. I think they did a pretty good job on how they dropped everything, but there's still some stuff that hasn't dropped because it's delayed. And obviously we know a lot of stuff has been happening like that. So officially, I think we got like maybe 8 items or something. There wasn't
There
too
wasn't too
many,
many. It was very
like
manageable.
overall. Yeah,
Yep.
so like if you wanted to get them all or get a few, it was pretty simple. I know you went on, you grabbed everything right away. I went in to check, and even like hours later, like most of the stuff was still available, wasn't
It
necessarily all
was.
sold out. And then like little by little, some of the stuff started selling out. But yeah, nothing crazy that blew my mind. Like the red boba, I know we talked about it. The red Boba Fett was pretty cool because we have the other versions that we have the
Yep.
Mandalorian, and I also have like Batman and stuff. And I like that look, but the only thing specifically with the Boba Fett, because they used the Boba Fett exact mold, which was from the Book of Boba Fett. No, that's his appearance in Book of Boba Fett or
Yeah,
Mandalorian?
it's just a really like messed up pop because it's his appearance from the Mandalorian, but it's in the Book of Boba Fett box.
The box. Okay, yeah. So that one though, he's in the pop, the regular version, he's very textured, like the
Yep.
look, right? And I just found it in the red, at least in the glam shots, it looked like tinfoil to me. It looked like red aluminum foil, but like the way it looked. And that's why I was
could see
kind of like
that.
a little like versus like the Mando one is like a red chrome.
Chrome.
And it's got
Yeah.
a nice shine to it. So I thought that's initially what it was going to come out when I heard
Or
about
it
it.
could have
So
just been a bad like
it could have been the picture because it
yeah,
wasn't the real one. It was like more like like that glam shot.
because I
So I
remember
guess
people were complaining. It just strikes me when someone took a picture of the 18-inch Iron Man. They're like, this looks like, so cheap.
yeah,
And then when people actually got in their hands, like, oh, this is amazing. That was just a bad picture.
yeah, which happens. So that makes sense. But yeah, that was one of the ones that I was kind of like, all right, this is pretty cool. But there wasn't too many. The Flock Knuckles is cool. Like I have the Tails. I think was one of the Target cons
Yeah, that
recently,
was
Flock
last year.
version.
And then I think
Yeah.
Funko
So
Shop exclusive was
yeah.
Sonic at one point. I really like the Star Trek movie moment from the
Hmm.
Wrath of Khan. I thought that one was really cool. Pretty original. And I kind of like how they've gone back to making pops from like the original series
Yeah.
and
Which is
movies.
true.
But yeah, nothing like they had the Becky Lynch WWE, they had Parks and Rec, they
They had a
had
couple anime
some
ones, I think.
a Yu-Gi-Oh one, which that seemed to be really popular. Like didn't realize how popular that still is. And then with some Masters of the Universe,
Yeah,
like a pop ride to
or
consume.
wasn't there like a T bundle too? I think
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
that is one that hasn't dropped on the website
Okay.
yet, but that some people found it in their stores.
In stores, yeah. And then like the Bell that you mentioned earlier is another one that's going to be coming out that didn't drop yet,
Yep.
which was the VHS cover, which I think that's actually officially number 1 in that line, right? Is that
Yeah,
the like first
I
one?
think it is, but I'm not positive. I don't remember what number
Yeah,
it was
because I
on.
know like the Lion
Because the Lion
King,
King
that one, and
wasn't,
Toy
which was
Story,
weird.
they like showed they've all because I think Lion King was actually number 3. I think that's what it was. It was like came
Yes.
out, we were like, what is this? Knowing that there was going to be more. And I believe the Sleeping Beauty Bell is number 1 in that line. And then 2, I think, is Toy Story. I believe that's how it is. But yeah, that was kind of Target Con. Like we said, I just thought it was interesting because it's kind of like we're still dealing with these cons and these things that aren't coming out fully finished yet. Like they're obviously have dates that they have to kind of meet, and they're just putting out whatever they have, and we're still dealing with some stuff that's delayed, and it kind of sucks. But at least they rolled out their stuff. I know stuff is shipping out pretty quick. I know you said you already got your stuff shipped.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
immediately.
I ordered the Star Trek, the Knuckles and the Boba Fett, and they shipped out immediately, which is so unlike Target. Like, so these actually were not pre-orders. They actually had them
Mhm.
in stock to go, which they've never done that ever. So that was kind of really amazing.
Yeah, for real, because that's actually like good for them. So at least, yeah, because we know how much we deal with Target where like they cancel and it's a pre-order and then we're waiting or whatever. So at least these things are going to be coming out. So that was something that obviously Target Con is every year we have to deal with it and see. Hopefully it's better than the other. But if you guys were excited, let us know like what from that con. I know some people went to stores. I saw some people on Instagram with their Targets packed with stuff. I haven't had a chance to actually get to a Target, so I don't know if well, I guess there's probably gonna be one or two pops that are those ones that you're gonna see on the shelves that are like sitting
Forever.
around. So I guess
Yeah.
we'll see which ones
Oh,
of
the
this
Joker
Target
one,
con.
probably. The
Oh
Joker.
yeah, we didn't get into that yet. The end, the whole disgusting artist series look, that Joker and
Yeah.
Penguin, both of those are terrible. But yeah, not something that I was excited for. Something that was pretty exciting for last week as far as like a drop. So this actually dropped, I can't remember what day, Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it was the Funko Shop exclusive that everyone has been waiting for, kind of minus me and Charlie because we're not the biggest, anime fans. But I knew this was going to be a super hot thing, and I actually tried to see if I can get one just to see, even if to give it away to people on my channel. And I got stuck with a lot of people where they were just loading and loading and loading, and I didn't get to get one. But it, of course, was the glow in the dark Deku with Airy, I think that's how I said it. So I know that this pop exists, I believe, already. It's just not glow in the dark. I think that's the
Exactly.
only difference, if I'm not mistaken. It's a cool looking pop. Like I've always said it, anime stuff has awesome looking pops. I don't know much of the show. I know the character Deku. I know that he was one of the first anime sodas that they came out with,
Yeah,
and I
he
had
is
him
the
for a little
main
while.
character of the
So
show.
yeah,
I'm not familiar with it either, but that I am pretty sure of. He is the main
yeah,
character.
which I believe too.
Yeah.
But I know if you're a fan of it, this was like the biggest deal when there was like previously announced these are going to be Funko Shop exclusives. We've always kind of had this like list that we're waiting for, and we're like, what's next? What's next? This Deco glow in the dark has always been like,
Which
what's going on? Where is it? Where is it?
I'm
And it
shocked how
dropped.
popular
And
it
bro,
is.
it sold. It
Yeah.
sold so fast. It was crashing the site essentially because people were not able to get in. And yeah, it was something that I know you got lucky enough to
Yeah.
grab for somebody. It wasn't for yourself, but you did.
Yeah. I got one for our boy Sensei. And he's a huge fan. We all went on try to get it. I was the only one who got lucky. I don't know how, but I did. And yeah, I'm happy I could, he's able to add it to his collection, even though I get the hype because it's so popular, but it just blows my mind that it's not even a new pop. It's just the glow in the dark. I mean, I
Yeah.
just I've said it before. I just can't get behind that. Like, I wish they just made like a new Deku or My Hero
Yeah.
pop,
Did something
make it a
different. Yeah.
Funko exclusive. Like, but I do know they look pretty sick glow in the dark pops, especially
Yeah.
for anime stuff. But still, like, it's Funko should be looking at this and be like, we should be making more exclusives of, My
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah. Because you could imagine if this was like a completely different mold and something wild or whatever, like it probably, I mean, maybe
I
they
mean, it
sold
couldn't
out,
have
I'm sure,
sold
of
out any
everything. So who
quicker,
knows?
but I
Yeah.
did see some people online, like obviously everyone wanted this and was pumped for it, but some people were like, yeah, I wish, it was something different. Like I passed because I have the common. Those are,
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, people who don't care that it is the exclusive and whatnot,
Hmm.
but the fact that some people were saying that just shows if they had one that everyone wanted that was a fan, I mean, it would probably crash their website immediately.
Yeah. That's true. So but I know it was popular, it dropped, and that was one of the big ones that everyone was waiting for as far as like definitely anime fans were waiting for, as far as that. So it's gonna be interesting to see if that restocks, because like I got a vibe out of that, like the Pietro, like that's kind of
Yeah.
where I got where it's like everyone was waiting for it. Where is it? And then it drops and sells out. And then what happens? It restocked. And now that thing is like a common pop that's not worth anything. So it's like, will this happen or will it not? I guess we won't know, but we'll see. But yeah, that was something that definitely was probably the biggest like exciting drop that actually came out of
Yeah.
nowhere with
I
Funko
even
shops.
saw photos online, people who went to like the actual Funko stores in the West Coast, and the lines were long and they all sold out in the
Wow.
store, which doesn't always happen either for the exclusive. So they at
Yeah.
least
So
got
it's
rid of all their stock there that they say they have.
so big deal. So if you guys are fans, for sure, let us know of this. If you got lucky enough yourself to get it. Hopefully, if you were looking for it, you did, because I know that right now the aftermarket, secondary market is pretty wild. Usually going to be like that right away. I'm assuming it'll probably kind of slow down. So if you are looking for it, hopefully you can still get it at a decent price and not have to go, crazy trying to grab it. But another cool thing that was just happened recently, actually, this was Saturday, was the redeemable NFTs, right? For the
Yeah.
Freddy Halloween. So the Freddy Funko like Halloween line was the first one that we kind of both really went after when we started doing this, and we were talking about NFTs. That was the one that we're like, you know what, let's try to get them because the redeemables are awesome. I was a huge fan because obviously the Halloween, aspect of it, and Charlie as well. And Charlie's a big Freddy fan, and these were all pretty much Freddy Funko style. So that one was super cool. And that was the one that Charlie for the first time won a redeemable, which you
Yeah.
got the soda,
The
the mummy
soda.
Freddy,
Yep. It
right?
was
Is
the mummy
actually what it
soda.
is.
Yep.
And you had to redeem it, right? So you got the
Yep.
coin or
So they
whatever.
dropped the coin in my account over the weekend, and when you get the coin, you then you go onto the site and you redeem it, and then it technically then burns the NFT. So I still have the coin in my like token head app, but it's no longer like
The
worth
picture of the
anything.
does you still see the card though? Like it's
The card never goes away. You'll always have that, but it's just funny that NFT went from being worth like $200 to now like it's worth like the last I checked like $8
oh
because now
wow.
it's not worth the price of the coin. Here, what I think is going to happen with these NFTs is once all the redemptions go away and people like, because now the coins are in people's accounts. Like I redeemed mine, but now people are going to sell those coins because now
Yeah.
they have it, and like
Because now you actually get the physical pop when
that's
you
how you get
get
the
that.
physical. Even if you had like you needed to have the NFT in your account, and now you get the coins. Now that's what's worth it. But like I said, I already redeemed mine. It says I think it's going to come in June. In Funko, they ship it to you for free too, which is legit. You don't have to pay for shipping.
Nice.
Um,
But
but
is
like
there
I
a
said,
date like when you have to redeem it by though?
yeah, you get a month essentially. So
Oh,
like
okay, okay.
you're now what they're calling is like you're in the redemption period, and I think it's like March 25th is the last day. Don't quote me on that. It says it actually
Yeah.
in the Funko Digital website, like the drop account. But um, so like if you don't redeem that, then you can't get that NFT even if you have the coin.
Yeah.
So you really need to like make sure you do that if you have like don't forget, because then that becomes they'll all still have some sort of value, but like not
Yeah, but
what
not, yeah.
not it is like
And you're
that.
not getting the physical pop
And that
soda or
coin
whatever.
now is worth it's going for more than what the NFT card was. I know.
Okay.
So the value then goes up more.
Wow. Okay. So that's interesting. So that was your first one. I know we went on a little bit of a run where Charlie was pulling redeemables after
Yeah.
redeemables. So that's going to be his first one. It is crazy that it's such a long wait though, that you have to wait for the actual thing. But I'm sure because with everything, somehow, probably in another month or two, someone's going to have it before you even get it, I'm sure. And we'll be able to see a physical version of it. Like, you know how on the internet, there's always somebody like
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be
The
interesting
Freddy
with that.
soda, like the Freddy soda that, like, I actually wanted to bring that up. The Freddy vampire soda supposedly is going to be eventually coming out, and we've already seen people with
We
pictures of
have,
that.
which like
So
in
like,
my opinion, that's coming from an employee leak.
it
Like
has to be.
it
Yeah.
has to be. Like there's certain ones. Well, let me tell you. Let me rewind a little bit. If an NFT one leaks out early, that's definitely coming from someone who works for Funko or who works for Drop, like the
Drop or
token head app.
something. Yeah.
Like because I don't see them being sent out. Like it even now shows you like how many, I don't remember the exact number, but how many that were available to get. That number is now going to show you how many people got the coin, because some could still be in packs that people never opened.
Oh, so if they didn't open, they don't get the coin.
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's already a little bit more limited.
It's already
Essentially,
more limited.
possibly,
And then it will become even more limited after the redemption period. And that's how you'll know the final piece count.
in case no one
Because in
actually,
case no one
yeah,
actually redeems it.
redeems it.
So I'm always curious too. So I'm assuming Funko, which I would like to think they haven't made these yet, or like like not that they haven't made them yet, but I don't see them if they're gonna say these are truly a limited number. I think that's gonna be true. I don't think it's gonna be
Yeah.
like a fake thing, like how we have with like the international sodas and
Yeah. Yeah.
state sodas. So or they've destroyed the pops, like who knows? But these are the NFT physical pops. I think they're gonna be worth a lot of money.
Yeah. I think so too, because the fact that they were worth pretty good amount right away, and it was strictly just the NFT. And like you said, there's still a coin involved in the redemption process. So like, yeah, it's kind of like whittling down the amount in a way, because like you said, people are going to forget. They're not going to open up their packs. It's going to be too late to do it. And then, like we actually spoke to one of our good friends, Southex
Yeah,
Collectibles, and Trey told us that he missed out on two, I think, Ninja Turtle ones because he couldn't get into
stinks.
his account. And after the fact, you're not able to do anything with it. You can't redeem it, whatever. So like, it's going to be interesting to see like how that works. But yeah, that was like a big thing. I don't know what else we had. If you guys are Disney fans, on Thursday, look out for Box Lunch. They're going to drop the Ariel with the Eric statue, which is a pretty cool like little movie moment, which the Little Mermaid, they do
A
pretty
lot.
good job of those like movie moments. There's a
They
lot of
do.
them, but they're the iconic scene or an iconic moment in the movie, and they do a pretty good job of like translating that into like
Now
Funko
will you be
Pop
getting
form, I
that
feel
for
like.
Sin?
So I've gotten her all of them, and I showed her that one, and she like liked it, but she was like, "Oh, you don't have, because like now it's like almost like she doesn't want to have like her own ridiculous collection that she has to somehow put somewhere that she has no room for." So I gotta see what it looks, and I don't know if like the prices changed on deluxe and stuff, because the prices have been definitely going up, but most of them have some pretty good value. Her Kiss a Girl one is over $100, and
Yeah.
like that's the only one that she still like will keep in the box and not ever take out. So like, I guess I don't know, we'll see if I grab that or not. Anything else that kind of off that I think there was a couple rumors. I know
One
I did
rumor
want to touch
that
on.
one rumor we may have talked about in the past. But now there's been some glam shops or some Nightmare Before Christmas blacklight, which
Yeah.
that line's rumored to be insane. Which
Yeah, because just when we saw the list that we like, announced as a rumor, it was a pretty big, extensive. I think one of the ones that officially or that we saw something of was like a keychain, like a
keychain. So
one.
like that just
But
shows
at
how
least
big the line's gonna
that,
be.
yeah, at least like it exists, and they're probably definitely gonna. Honestly, I think it's a line that could look good. I think it'll lend well because I've always said it. I think blacklight lends really well to like superheroes, and like not people, like cartoons or whatever it might be. I think they will look better. So an animated movie like this, I think probably will look pretty cool. So it's interesting to
Yeah,
see.
I think they're gonna be
Obviously, we
pretty.
already know
Yeah,
that
they're gonna
blacklight's
look
going to be
pretty
huge.
awesome. But I think they're gonna make too many in this line.
Yeah,
And it's kind
I
of
think this one
speaking
specifically.
of blacklight, like we saw, which I don't know if we've actually got to talk about this afterwards, but maybe we did. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. But the I'm not Target on the Target exclusives for the Festival Fun, the Marvel ones, like some of those are sitting, and it's like, are people over blacklight or they just like these aren't characters that we want? So it's interesting.
Yeah,
Like I think Funko needs to start realizing like the blacklight craze is still real, but they need to make the right ones. Don't just like make everything in blacklight, which they did with the artist series, and then it's just like no one wants them
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I know that it's still a line that gets people excited. I know if they come out with the right character, the right looking one or whatever, people will definitely go after it. It could become grails. Like I think that still exists. But I totally agree that I think if they overdo it, there are going to be people that are going to pass, even if they are blacklight collectors, just because the actual character maybe shouldn't have been made, isn't as popular, or doesn't look as good. So it is going to be interesting. I think that's starting to happen a lot now, especially with that
Yeah.
like little Marvel wave. So I guess we'll see. Nightmare Before Christmas does have a pretty big fandom. I know that. So I guess that can kind of pull those people in there. I don't know. It depends on what it's going to look like, how many they really drop, and how they drop them, I guess, or something's going to be exclusive or not. So I guess we'll wait and see. But the last thing I did want to touch on was another little rumor. This is just kind of like a thing for Star Wars Celebration. So we've kind of mentioned this in the past, but we keep seeing little by little that Star Wars Celebration obviously is going to be where we get a pretty big reveal of some stuff in Star Wars. And that's where we also
Yeah,
kind
we
of
called
mentioned
this.
months ago that we think that's where the sodas are finally going to be announced, and we're going to see some of these Star Wars sodas, which we have been kind of hearing for a while now that this is little by little becoming something that might be real. And it's going to be pretty cool to see if we can finally see what these look like, if they are, and who they, drop first or whatever. So I'm kind of excited to see that for sure.
Which is funny. I just to go on that really quick, because part of the rumor we saw for this new one was a Luke and a Boba Fett one, and it says they're comic style, which to me is really strange. When I first saw this, I thought they were talking about making comic covers of Star Wars comics, and now talking out loud, this just made me think of something. I wonder if there's a reason, if they are the comic versions, is something about the licensing of why they haven't had sodas now they finally can. Because
it could be
that,
like, if it happened, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it would make sense.
Yeah,
like,
because you all know I'm a huge Star Wars fan. If they're making Star Wars comic like Funkos for the first sodas, like, that's lame. Like, that's very weird. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, comics are fun to read, but the old ones are now considered legends. The new ones that Marvel makes, like, they're supposed to be canon, but they're not really canon because they make stories. And now the Disney Plus shows, like, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have kind of been like, I know they don't like those comics, or like, so things that may have happened in those, we don't care anymore. So, like, it's not the biggest fandom in the Star Wars community. So I don't think they should be making Funko sodas from that. I know people won't care. They'll just say, this is a Luke Skywalker and this is a Boba Fett one, but it's just really weird if that's what they end up being like the model of.
Yeah. And I think it could be a couple of things. Like, they could do that. It could be like, what's to say they don't make like an animated version? Like, what if they do like an Obi-Wan animated version, right? Or they do the movie.
Looks cartoonish.
Because like we don't know yet, because they haven't done any yet. So like, where do they start? Because we already kind of have a gripe when it comes to Marvel, where they're like going so oddly back and forth between
all over the
comic style and the movie MCU style. So like, I'm excited just to see like something finally come out. I think they could literally just start off by doing a Vader and making it literally Darth Vader. And I think that right there would just get people like super excited, because I think that would look amazing in soda right off the bat, and then kind of pick and choose from there going forward. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, we'll see. Maybe sodas don't come out, because I remember last year when there was some pretty big stuff for Star Wars coming out, or for May the 4th. I remember me thinking that's when they were going to start announcing stuff, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So like, I guess we'll see if, this year finally is the year.
I think this is the year
because of licenses and that kind of stuff. So,
but it'll be interesting. Probably my most highly anticipated Funko product.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be for a lot of people. Like, it's got its own enormous fandom. And I know that there's a lot of soda collectors that are also big Star Wars fans. So like, it's going to be interesting. So I guess we'll see, and we'll hopefully get some good stuff. But that's going to be for the news. So news rumors was not too crazy, but some pretty good stuff nonetheless that we are excited for. And now we're going to get into the rest of the episode, which I'm excited to talk about this one. I've been wanting to talk about this for a little while because I'm a fan of this line. It kind of reminds me of the sports one that we talked about.
100%.
Where I feel like it's a line that could be super great. I think it is good. I think sometimes they kind of missed the ball on it. I don't think it gets delivered the right way. I think there's so much to it. But of course, it's the Pop Rocks line is what they call it. But if you guys don't collect Funko, or you don't know too much about that, no, it's not the candy that you put in your mouth. It is the music line, essentially, of Funko, which could be, of course, different musical artists, different bands, different groups. And then, of course, they even have the albums line now, which is technically separate because it's pop albums, not rocks, but they're all kind of in the music. So I kind of wanted to just kind of put them together and talk about a little bit of that. So if you guys don't know, so obviously there's not too many of them. So that's one thing, that it's not a big line. I was looking through like a list. The highest numbered one on the single basis, not on the albums, is 258, which is not high at all. Like when we're looking at like Marvel in the thousands and stuff like that, it's really not that much. So what I think is cool is that it's been around for a while though, because some of the OG pops that are like super plain, like didn't have crazy stance and stuff, are some of these music ones, like Purple Haze. So this is another thing. It's called Purple Haze, but it's obviously the Jimi Hendrix pop. But I'm assuming back then they didn't have the
The
licensing
license, yeah.
like to actually do it, because they also did the same thing with Bob Marley, where his is called Reggae Rasta. So the pop is actually under Reggae Rasta, and that was like one of the fourth pops or whatever that came out under this line. And it's interesting because those pops have crazy value. They're grails. They're hard to get, and when you
Yeah.
see them, they're like even the boxes were very very plain. Like they didn't have a logo at the top. It was just a
Just like their
color.
name.
Yeah, and then it just literally said it at the bottom, like, Purple Haze for the Jimi Hendrix one and Rasta for that one. And then there was obviously the Elvis ones, which you probably see sometimes in like mystery boxes, the 50s Elvis, like
Yep.
there's a metallic version. There was a few different glow in the dark, I think. So like those are very, very big. And then they started getting into bands. We had Kiss, we had glow in the dark versions of them, and then the line kind of went from there. And I think it's good. I think it's good in the sense that it kind of covers a wide variety of genres when it comes
Yep.
to music, but there's just so many musicians that obviously still you would want to be made. But I think out of all the, I don't know necessarily, but I feel like out of all the lines, this is probably the hardest one when it comes to licensing. Because I feel like a lot of these people and behind labels and like,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff,
There's a
it's
lot
like
going on.
probably a lot of layers to get to be able to even make any type of figure, collectible toy, whatever, of some of these people or bands or whatever it is.
Because it's actually them. Like
Exactly. And that's another thing. Yeah, it's not a character. It's not a Marvel. It's not a Robert Downey Jr. pop. It's Tony Stark, so like they can kind of probably get away with
Yep.
that a little bit differently because that person's already in movies and things like that. So yeah, these are like actual artists. It's an actual person. It's them. It looks like them. Obviously, it'll be dressed like them, whatever it is, or even the band. And I'm sure that's got to be a reason why we probably don't have every freaking musician that exists. But I do think it's cool. I think that there's a place to grow. They even have, this is funny, there's one pop ride that is a music one, and it's the Ice Cube and the Impala, which is such a cool one.
Yes.
But it's like technically it's his, right? They don't have any other ones. And then there's also a lot of multi-packs, which, and I'm not even talking about albums, I'm just talking about just straight multi-packs of musicians. And like even BTS has 2 multi-packs, like for 2 different albums, and it's a 7-pack, which I think is
huge.
the biggest, I think, of any of the multi-packs is that one, I believe. But then we got a couple bands. We got the Beatles has one. I think Pearl Jam has one. So there's a few other ones that do, which I think is pretty cool. And then with this line of all the other, compared to a lot of other lines, is what you always bring up, where like we know Funko loves certain people or certain characters or whatever. And I feel like with this, you see it a lot. Like they love Jimi Hendrix. They love like certain ones that they just keep milking. Notorious B.I.G. There's so
Like
many
I love
Biggie pops.
Jimi Hendrix, but I don't need another Jimi Hendrix pop. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
so like they clearly like have this one license that they're like, oh, I love that, and they just kind of go crazy on it. And they have done that with certain ones, and which is unfortunate, but at least you're getting it out there, whatever. And then there's even some Freddie Funkos, which I know you have. One of the ones that I think is one of the
Kurt
best
Cobain one
ever. Yes, Kurt Cobain, which is sick. So they do make a few different Freddie Funko versions in music. Not too many, but I know the Kurt Cobain one is super cool. He's dressed just like him and everything. But yeah, like what's your thought on the line overall? Like, are you a fan of it? Like, I actually have a decent amount of it. It's kind of like my sports line where I like secretly collect it here and there, and I do like them. But like, what's your thoughts?
I do like the line. I think it's underrated. I don't have many. Like for example, Beatles, my favorite band of all time. They have that 4-pack, and that's like the Yellow Submarine, and they have like them separately. Like that's OGs. Like they don't make any other ones. Like I don't get that. I would love for them to make more like Beatle ones, for example. I also love like Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. They don't have any. Like I feel like a lot of the artists I like, they haven't made in pop form yet. Not that they're like, it's funny. The only one I have is Ed Sheeran, which is totally random. But and I have some Freddie Mercury ones, and I do
Yeah.
have a Queen album. But I do really like the line though. It's kind of like the sports line where I've gone back and forth. Like sometimes I see these pops and I'm like, there's just some this sounds weird, but like fandom when it comes to collectibles, in my opinion, when it's coming to like movies and TV shows, it seems more natural to me in like like a collectible form. Where like for music, like I like collect vinyl records. Like to me, that's like there's just certain like Britney Spears, for example, like now like that new pop that came out, I thought it looks pretty cool. It's like, should I add that to my collection because she's like a legend? But it's like, where am I gonna like the Britney Spears one just doesn't fit into my collection, if that makes sense. Like it's just I think that's another issue with it. It's like I need to look this more as like, it's cool maybe to get some legendary musicians or artists into
Yeah.
like my collection rather than just being like how I mentioned in my sports episode, which I've now come around and like brought me to the dark side. Like, I can get some other athletes that I like that are greats that aren't just on the teams that I like. So
Yeah.
how you mentioned before, like I do think this line is very much like the sports one, but I even think maybe it's more underrated. And I don't think it's as like I don't think this is that popular of a line either.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, so like it's like I mentioned, it's not that big of a line. So it's not like there's an overwhelming number that like you can't try to collect, but it's true. There's definitely artists and musicians or whatever that don't exist in Funko Pop form yet. That if you're a fan of, maybe that's kind of steered you away from it. But me personally, like I was a fan of it because I started collecting, like I said, Notorious B.I.G. is one of the biggest ones that they have a bunch of him.
I feel like if you're a
And I
hip
started,
hop fan or like
yes,
there's a lot. I'm not a hip hop fan, but I'm not a big enough fan of some of these artists that I want their Funko Pops, if I'm being
yeah,
honest. Like, and that's if you I think you have a wealth of awesome pops if like that's your biggest genre of music.
yeah, which I agree, and it's really that, and like maybe some like old school rock or classic rock because there's obviously a lot of those
Yeah.
bands and stuff. But like when I started kind of building up this wall, and it was before I was really heavy on soda, so like not I didn't have as many. So this wall, it was originally my horror stuff because that was one of my bigger collections. And then it slowly went up, and I think I had like Batman or whatever. And then like the top like two or three shelves was all rocks because I had pretty much almost every besides the crazy OG grails, but pretty much all the biggies that came out. I had Tupac, I had Lil Wayne, I had Ice Cube, like those OG classic rappers. I actually had. I had the B Rabbit, which that's technically a movie pop. It's not a music. It's not Eminem. It's
Yeah,
considered the
but it
character B
looks like him.
Rabbit.
I wish I
But
had
we
that one.
know, yeah, we know it's him. So like I got it because of that. So obviously I got that. I also thought it was pretty cool because like what I said that the genres they expand out is that even though there's not many of them, there's even Spanish reggaeton artists. So like there's an artist called Ozuna, there's an artist J Balvin. They're both very popular. One's Colombian, one's Puerto Rican, but they're popular in the
Yep.
Caribbean, in that type of music. And I got those too because I was like, oh, that's cool that they actually make them. They're representing that style. Like that's cool. So I found it awesome and I grabbed those, and they're obviously artists that I like. But I kind of like for a little while was kind of like with my sports ones where I would get like few at a time and my collection got a little bit bigger. And then it was like, all right, now there's a lot. Now I got to kind of really be picky because there's even like groups and stuff that would come out, right? But they're individually coming out. So like
Yeah.
TLC would come out. There's three
Get
of
them
them.
all.
So
Yep.
you got to get them all. But I didn't. I was like, maybe not. And
Like
then
I
same
wanted the
thing with
Boys to
like
Men ones, and
Boys
I'm
to Men. I
like,
was just
yeah, I
gonna
don't
say,
want
yeah,
all
like I
like
love Boys to Men. I think it's awesome. And they sat around for a while, but I was like, do I want to get all of them or like no? So I didn't. I kind of passed on them. And then I went through my little run of getting the albums. And I know we didn't mention albums yet, but the albums obviously to me fit into this whole music rocks line. And I've said it a few times on past episodes that like I started with the first one, which is Notorious B.I.G. And I kind of just like got the second one, got the third one, and I was getting them as they went. And now they're like, there's a lot of them.
yeah.
And then they changed to the deluxe ones and whatever. But I think it's just it's an interesting line because it can fit in. Like if you like a certain type of music, there's probably a pop that'll fit into there. I would assume. I mean, obviously they don't cover everyone, but like you said, even Ed Sheeran, like that's very pop alternative style. Like They have the old school bands. They have Elvis, right? They have Pearl Jam, Beatles. Like, so they do kind of have, they just may not have as many. Like you said, the OG Beatles, you're probably not going to get
Yeah.
because it's probably ridiculously expensive or
And
impossible
they
to
probably won't
find.
allow them to make new ones.
Exactly. And that's probably why some of these things are getting stuck. Same reason why my most wanted pops ever would be the Michael Jackson ones.
Well, me too.
So the Michael
Yeah, we've said.
Jackson ones, yeah, are amazing. I love that they're individually a different song / video style, each one, but they're like so expensive. They're not remaking it. It's like it's very hard to get unless I get lucky in a mystery box type of thing. But those would be ones I would love to have, like really, really love to have.
It's so
And
funny because that's probably between, I would say the Michael Jackson ones are actually my number one grail of in, you know, the rocks line, even over the Beatles. The thing is, like, I normally am not like afraid. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy one of those. They're so expensive, but like, I feel like you have a good chance of getting a fake. I
that's
feel like
the
that's
thing
one of the
too.
most
Yeah.
faked Funko Pop out there.
Yeah. It's
From what
it's
I've
definitely
heard.
up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there. There's definitely a few that I could be like, even as a horror fan, I know that like, Ghostface, Captain Spaulding, like those characters are very notoriously faked. So like even that is scary for me because I'm a huge horror fan. So I that's kind of one of the reasons why a Captain Spaulding pop I don't have, and that's one that I've always kind of been like I would love to get it, but it is one that gets faked a lot. And yeah, with the Michael Jackson, it's the same kind of thing. I remember seeing one on an auction on Whatnot not too long ago, and I was surprised because you don't even see them like that. And it was actually one that they put up, and I was like, oh, maybe it'll go for cheap. Maybe there's not that many people here, and it went
Yeah.
400 plus, and I was like, I'm not touching that. So, and that's kind of where they sit. That's the value that they have, especially because that was a pop that like we all knew it got removed from the Funko app because of his estate and everything that happened with that. And now there's like rumors that we may get some type of Michael Jackson pop, may get him in the album, which I always, for the longest time, once the albums came out, I always said the Thriller album needs to be in a Funko Pop album. If they can in any way get that license and able to do it, that would be the one that I would go bananas for.
And what's so great even about Michael Jackson, not to go off on him, but it's like you mentioned, like his pops are of his iconic songs, like the OG ones, and like I mean, Michael Jackson was obviously known for his flair too, and like you knew, like they're so iconic. Like I don't think there's many. Weirdly enough, I feel like the only musician right now that they're making lines of that they kind of do that for is Britney Spears, where it's like
And
they
Jimi Hendrix.
yeah, but they
Jimi
do, I guess,
Hendrix
for
does
the Jimi
do,
Hendrix ones,
yeah,
but
Jimi Hendrix does the do for like a performance or a very similar
and they did it, I
style or
guess,
whatever.
they did it for Freddie Mercury, but it's just like I feel like
I
they
think the
can't.
big iconic names they've done it with
It's
some of them.
hard to do that though in this
Elvis.
line, and I think that's like a good thing rather than okay, we kind of just like picked an artist and some random outfit, and we're like, okay, this is so and so. Which I think that's
Yeah.
another issue with this line in general of making other people. You may not just really recognize who they are in a pop form. Does
Yeah.
that make
Which
sense?
it does. But I think it's like it's kind of the extreme both ways. I think they do it sometimes where you're like, oh my God, that's like you said, that's Michael Jackson in Smooth Criminal. He's wearing
Yeah.
white, like you know what it is, right? And they sometimes will do that with people like Prince and Jimi Hendrix. They have done it with them, or even Biggie, like
Biggie,
a
you're right. They
certain
do
one,
that a
right?
lot with him.
But they definitely do the basic ones where you're just like, oh wait, is that this person or is it that person? And you
Yeah.
have to kind of like it could look like someone else, and like you're like, all right, that's just a kind of a lazy, like even the DJ Khaled, like oh, okay, it's DJ Khaled, but he's just dressed on like
It's just him.
he doesn't have like
Yeah.
an iconic type of like like you said, like outfit or video or something like that. But I think that's just kind of like how it is with music, because even like some of these pop stars, like Ed Sheeran, for instance, like they came out with his, but now look what they're doing with like Post Malone. They came out with one, and now they're like, I think they're doing like a video version. I think that they're trying to do that.
There's
They're
a
doing
ton of
like,
Post Malones.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
trying to do like different videos, outfits that he wears, I guess you could
And
say.
maybe
But
this
I
is
mean, I'm not like,
controversial to say, but like I don't think he's worthy of that.
yeah, I mean, I don't think either. I think there's
But
got to
it's
be
crazy how they
something.
pick certain people. It's just like he has way too many Funko Pops, in my opinion, where there's like these artists that maybe it is obviously a licensing thing, but like they have nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't need another Post Malone pop. Like I know a lot of
It
people
may
like him, but it's
Oh
just
yeah.
it's just interesting to me.
It makes me
I
think
don't want
what
to.
the actual
Yeah,
licensing comes down to, though, because I wonder, because obviously we don't know, but I wonder if some of it is the labels. Like, do we not have any? I'm not just gonna throw one out
yeah.
there. Sony Music. Do we not have any from Sony? Music, RCA. Like, is that why we don't have certain ones, or is it more down to the actual person and a little bit
I
more,
feel like it's got to be down to the actual
precise?
person because it's so interesting. Like speaking of sports, like I think that's a deal that's made with like the NFL and like the Players Association, and then it's
Mhm.
like, okay, we can make a pop of you. We're just going to decide who we make based off of popularity and whatnot, even though those are the actual people. I think they lose a
Yeah,
little bit of their, rights with that when, it's built
yeah. I'm sure
in
there's
into their
contractual
contract.
stuff.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like artists, especially well-established ones, like I look at like, Taylor Swift. Why doesn't she have a pop? She doesn't have a pop because she doesn't want to have one, probably. Like
yeah.
people, I
Could be
think would
because
would
people would go
probably buy
wild for
that.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, people would
And
definitely
it's
go
like,
wild for that.
where is a Taylor Swift Funko Pop? Like, it's just this is the weirdest line when it comes to who they have and who they don't.
But like, not to, not to get super deep into this because I could be completely wrong. But look at how we have Britney Spears, right?
Yep.
We've had Britney Spears pops. We have new Britney Spears pops. Britney Spears clearly just went through a crazy thing where she didn't have rights to like anything, right? With her
Yep.
conservatism, whatever thing. So like, was like, where
Her
does
dad
that
wanted
fall
to
in that?
that
Was
falls
her
into the
dad
dad
like
wanted to
saying
make
like,
money.
I want to make money, so yeah, I'm okaying that you can make my daughter's pop? Do you think that happened, or
I
is
I
it like,
actually I do think
you know what
that.
I'm saying? Especially when it comes to people who aren't, like, she wasn't putting out music, so she's not. Maybe she's still under a label, but I don't think she was, right? Because she wasn't
Yeah.
really doing anything. So like, where does that fall? So then it's like, yeah, was it because of him? Because he thought he was gonna make money off of it, whatever. But that's just like a one-off because of her specific.
Yeah.
And we know that they make, they made older ones of her, and they're now making even newer ones of her. Um, but it's a weird, it's interesting. I think because, like you said, it's a human being. It is a little different. It's not a character. It's
Yeah,
not a
no.
comic. It's not something somebody wrote. It's like an actual person, and they just happen to be a musician, yada yada, and like, but like, it's a funny one because it's one of those, because there's so many musicians, that you'll get the obvious legends, and then you'll get the people that are like, why are they even doing this person a pop of this person? Like you said, there's a Post Malone and there's a Notorious B.I.G. On the music level, they're clearly separated, and even on a pop level, they're separated. So it's just like, it's interesting. Whitney Houston, huge name, she's got a pop one out. So like, it's weird, but like, who? So you kind of named a few, but like, what are some that you really wish? I know you said, um,
Yeah. I mentioned like Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen, yeah.
It's not even ones that like I mean, I'm like a big like I can go I like country music. Like I like Luke Bryan. I wish they made a Luke Bryan pop.
Mhm.
I wish they made like a Keith Urban pop. I wish they made a
I'm
John.
surprised they don't with
Yeah.
country, because
I
country's a
wish
big a
yeah,
big enough fandom too.
not country, but I wish they made a John Mayer pop.
Yeah,
But then I even like how do they not make a Jay-Z pop? Like
dude,
I
he's
don't
one of mine. I
they
was
make a
wondering why.
Beyonce pop. Like they probably don't want them. Like I just feel like that's what's going down to. There's not a Kanye pop. Like it's
Yeah,
just
Kanye would be
I
my
feel
number
like he
one.
would want one. Like it's in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
um
I totally agree.
it's just yeah, there's but then again, like music is just such a weird thing. Even though Funko has shown they'll make like random like people, but like there's so many artists that like I like that are just so not mainstream that like they
Yeah,
would never get a Funko Pop made of them. Um, so it's just, but yeah, my biggest one is probably Bruce Springsteen. Like, and you could go the route with him like they do with like Queen or even like Michael Jackson, or like you can make multiple iconic ones of him.
yeah.
I also think it'd be pretty cool if they made like a pack of him with the Holy Street Band, or like there's not a Bon Jovi pop. Like it's just it's weird. Part of me is like, I wonder if this line doesn't sell and they don't even go out to try to make. Like I was pretty happy. I said this recently in an episode. There came out with a Chris Stapleton pop.
Yep.
He's though like he's current, and he's popular, so it's like, let's make a pop of him. But it's just kind of like they're not trying to reach out or paying the big bucks for these licenses because they don't think it's beneficial. They're not going to get a return on their investment.
Yeah, because I think they're kind of stuck in this place where they're trying to think of like, do we just go with current? Do we go with what's the kids are, listening to, what's popular now? And that's why we're seeing certain ones that are coming out, and they don't think like an older generation, or like, they don't think that, okay, let's drop Garth Brooks, let's drop Keith Urban. Like, they probably don't think those fans are going to be
Yeah.
buying it. So they're looking at more of the up and coming younger crowd, and like, which I get it. Like, maybe it is a smarter,
But I don't even think
business
they do a
thing.
great job on that either.
But yeah, the way that they're released and stuff, I think is a little odd. But like, I don't know. It's so weird. I almost feel like we're literally saying the exact same thing that we said with sports episode,
We are.
because I feel the exact same way about both of these lines. That I think because the reason why I say that too is because if you picked like hobbies or things that people like or whatever, and you put like a bunch of things in a bucket, right? Like, sports and music are like going to be at the top of the list of almost
Yeah.
anybody. Doesn't matter what kind of music or which sports, you probably have them near the top with movies and a couple other things, right? And it's just like, it's such a big, it might be too big. Maybe that's the problem. There's just too many different artists, too many different genres and that kind of stuff. But like, there has to be a way that they can kind of just come out with it. Maybe I just think the problem is like, maybe come out with more different people, but not as many of them, if that makes sense.
No, that's what I think
Versus
ultimately
like a
I would
million
like the
of one
best.
random one.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think it only makes it's just funny. I'm gonna bring up the Jimi Hendrix again. Not that I don't think he's worthy. I love Jimi Hendrix. Most of them look the same though. If like I don't think his looks are that much different that like they weren't all these pops. And like they kind of just like changed the color of his shirt and like
Mhm.
his guitar. Whereas I'll go with like the Beatles again. I would be okay if they made multiple of them because they went through many different phases. Or like I think the Freddie Mercury line is like the best example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You see an old school Freddie
All
with
those
the
pops
hair,
look
and then
different.
yep.
But yeah, they really shouldn't be doing much of that. It's like, let's make a pop of this artist, pick their most iconic look, and then move on.
Yeah.
Like I'm agreeing. I think that's what they should be doing.
Yeah. I think that's like where they'll pull in more than just your regular, like, collector. They'll pull in the fan, especially for a moment or a specific album or song, which is probably why the Michael Jackson, I think they did it perfect with Michael Jackson. I think that
Yes.
nothing got better than that. And they did, I think, what, 5 of them. So like, they did it enough times that it can be done. Right. And yes, maybe Michael Jackson's kind of hard to compare someone else to because he was so
Just
huge and
he's
iconic,
larger
and
than life. Like
yeah, and
it's
he was about the image and about those videos
like
and
he's
about
a
his,
character in himself.
so
Like
exactly. So that makes sense that they didn't miss on that one. Thank God, Funko. But I guess with some of the other ones, they totally could do that. Yeah, and just to kind of throw in there my people that I
yeah,
think like I really want, like you essentially named them, but like Kanye West is top of my list. I know he's crazy. Some people may not like him, controversial as hell, but one of my favorite artists of all time. I think he's amazing, and I think he had enough of a look and style, whether it was album to album, that you can totally make different pops that you would know it was Kanye. Like you said before, it wouldn't be
yep,
one of those ones you're like, oh, that's just rapper A. Like, no, you would be like, that's Kanye West. Like, that
yes.
was specifically him. Same thing with Jay-Z. Like, get put you can make a Jay-Z pop and not have it look like a Yankee player by just putting a Yankee hat. I'm sure you can make it where that was him. Because I know they would try to do something and then people would be like, oh, it looks like just a baseball player. Um, and I think those are like the two big ones that I'm like, they need to make these because they're huge names. I think they already make other rappers, so they were pretty successful from what I
Yeah,
see with
that
that
would yeah.
line, that I think they could totally, translate over into some kind of Funko Pop. They both could translate into pop album really well because they have iconic looking albums and stuff
Even
too.
better, in my opinion.
So
A
I think
lot of
that would
people
be,
would excel in that line.
yeah. So I think that was a big one. The Michael Jackson one is like the one that I'm like would think would be amazing. But yeah, give me a Kanye album, give me a Jay-Z album, like those album ones I think would be sick. Um, but like one that I'm actually excited for, and we know is officially coming out, is the second Linkin Park one,
Yes,
which
that
we
looks
know we
awesome.
talked about, and like the reanimation that looks amazing. So like that, like this is why I think it's so similar to sports. Is like sometimes they come out with something and you're like, wow, there's smart ass people in Funko. They know what they're doing here. But then you can also see something and you're like, what are they doing? Like, why are they not doing this? And it almost makes me feel like it's a big team and they
Yep.
have like a lot of voices.
Yeah,
Like
and they
it's not
probably
someone that's
struggle
really,
creatively because like I look at the reanimation one's a perfect example of like that one just looks awesome. But like, and I love Linkin Park, but what I really want just like Linkin Park Funko Pops, probably not. Which happens a lot, I'm assuming, just when they're thinking about making music pops. It's like,
yeah.
okay, this band is really successful, but like, do they look special in pop form? Like they make Blink 182 ones, which I actually want in my collection that I don't have,
Yeah.
but I
Which
don't think
actually
I
has Travis Barker. That thing has some value right now.
it does. I know. And
Yeah.
but when they first came out, I was like, they look fine. Like I think they could have done a better job with them.
Yeah.
And I think they do that with a lot. Like Green Day pops, like I love Green Day. Don't have any of them because I was just like, eh. Same with like the Fall Out Boy ones. Like it doesn't even really look like Pete Wentz to me. And it's just kind of like, okay, I didn't get that because like I think they've missed the ball on a lot of them. They don't look that good.
Yeah. That's another thing. If it doesn't look like them, like, I don't know. It's so weird. Like I'm looking through now, I'm just trying to like scroll through the list just to see like some that maybe stick out that I'm like, wow. And I feel like when you talked about like trying to hit a certain fandom and maybe they don't think it's selling, so let's try this. That's what I think of when I think of the fact of how many BTS pops they made.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because if you don't know, BTS is obviously it's a huge K-pop band, Korean, pop band that is enormous, huge over there and even huge here, and like worldwide known. And they probably thought that they can kind of ride those coattails of like, let's make the characters and everyone will go crazy. And I feel like maybe they were successful. They dropped a few versions of them. There's 7 members in each in the group.
Yeah.
So they have individual versions and like 2 different albums or whatever they did. And then they have like the packs, like 7 packs and stuff. And it's like, that's pretty intense. Like that's almost like them being like, well, we're just gonna make a full Los Angeles Lakers roster to make the whole team
It's funny
and
you
put them out
say
on a pop.
it's funny you say that though. Like if I was a BTS fan, I'd want the 7-pack, I think, over the individual ones. Like it
Yes, that makes more
looks,
sense though.
yeah, it like looks cool for that. You just made me think though, a starting lineup of pops in a box would look pretty cool, in my opinion.
They could
How did we
totally do.
not think of that before? But
Well, because there's 2 versions of the BTS packs. Isn't there one that's long way 7, and then there's one that's more square, right? And there's like on top of each other. I think that's how one of them came out.
I'm thinking of the long one.
The new one that just came out is definitely the long one. They have 2 7-packs though.
I'm gonna look this up right now, just
Yeah,
because
because
I
I
can
wonder if
envision the
one
long
was
one.
because I think one of them is the other way. But for sure, one is the long one where there's 7 pops.
And I
side
do
by
know when
side.
that came out, people were like, "This looks ridiculous," but
Yeah,
you are
unless
right.
you're a
The
fan, like
other
I
one is 3 and 4. It's a square. The people,
okay, yeah,
I think that is that the original one. Yeah,
that's the first one. That's
that
the
is the
first one that
first
came
one.
out. Yeah,
Yep.
because I think it goes by the album or song or
Which
something,
that is
Dynamite or whatever.
that's a better see, like they all have like unique looks, each member of that group, in my
Yes,
opinion. Like
yes,
these, I'm looking at them right now. These pops actually look
they're
pretty
like
cool.
human anime characters.
Yes.
Like, which is awesome because they did.
It's so true. Yeah. Okay. Wow, they
It's
even made
interesting.
keychains of them.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, they went crazy with that line because I know they've tried to ride the fact that it was very popular and it clearly was, but like I don't know if that meant sales. Like I don't know if that those
It
all
is
those fans
interesting though.
did
You
buy them or
say
not.
I'm just like reading it now. So in the Funko app, The new one, which is the Walmart exclusive, that is of Dynamite.
Okay,
Where
that's
the
the one.
OG one, it's just interesting how they decide, like, are we making it a band or are we making it an album name or a song name? And yeah, that one's just BTS, and
Just the members.
yeah, that 7-pack's got some pretty good value.
Yeah, I mean, I think retail was pretty high already, so I would assume
That's true.
it would
Yeah.
sit up there. But yeah, I mean, like then we got iconic groups here in America, obviously Backstreet Boys and Sync, like they came out with those, and I think they kind of try to go with an iconic like look to those, like a music video style, like they did
Yep.
that. But like then there's like, I mean, I don't know, obviously they're popular and I don't think they're bad, but like Migos, they
Yep.
have them and they're individual ones, and I thought that was a little random. I was like really, like are they that popular, like to make in this? So like it's just it's strange. I think it's weird. I think music is kind of one of those things though that's like it is subjective, and there's so many different fans of different things that I think that's what kind of makes it a little tough. Like, because if I'm not a super big fan of like heavy metal and they're coming out with Metallica pops, like yeah, I know Metallica is a big
Yeah.
name and popular, but I'm just not a fan. But there might be people that are diehard Metallica fans, and that's what they want. So they want those pops and they want the album version and that kind of stuff.
It's
But
funny though,
I
you bring up like the
it's weird.
NSYNC. Like, I wish there was just a Justin Timberlake Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Like, I know he has his own, but it's like the NSYNC version. But it's like, why
But they
didn't
could
they
have
ever
made
make
him, yeah,
exactly?
with his style. He had definitely
Because
iconic
the
looks and
NSYNC
stuff.
ones, like, they all are of them of a time. They have like those old school like
Yep.
microphones. Like,
Very, very young. One of the kind of right in the beginning. Like really
yeah.
them. Yeah, it's him with his crazy curly hair, bright blonde and everything. So like it's just it's weird. It's like it's a line that I think people probably, it's very similar to the sports in the sense that I think people either love it or some people hate it. Some people think they don't make enough people. Some people think they're making too many people. And it's like it's gonna always kind of have that like, back and forth. But it's interesting. I don't know. I like the line. I think it's good, but I do think there's obviously stuff missing. I think that the way that they come out with stuff doesn't always make sense. I think you've touched upon this when we've spoken about something with music specifically, when it comes to like the sites, the band sites or
Yeah.
their actual sites or concerts, merch, how we don't really see these there, but like they should be. Like if you're going to a band and you got all their hoodies and t-shirts, like why aren't they selling Funko Pops of them? Like I feel like that would be when people would buy them. I feel like
Yeah.
the only reason why maybe not is because they don't want to buy it and carry it into the show and sitting there with a pop that they might get crushed because they're jumping around or whatever. But I feel like there and on their site, I know some people do sell on their site. I actually think when I was looking, there was one pop that was an exclusive. It was actually one of the 21 Pilots, which that's
Oh
a
yeah.
kind of a random one. I actually like 21 Pilots. Like I was a pretty big fan of them before they got really mainstream and popular, but they have a 2-pack of them and it was actually only exclusive to their site, which I
That's
thought was
cool.
interesting.
That's the way it should be going down.
Exactly. And
I
I was
like that.
interesting because then you don't see these pops just sitting around where you can be like, wow, they're making too many of these pop rocks line and they're not worth it. Whereas they'll be directly to their fans and their fans can buy them and it appeases the fan. And then if they do that more often, I feel like we would think of the line as a whole to be more successful. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I mean, I can even give like I mentioned the only like I have Freddie Mercury and then I have an Ed Sheeran pop. I'm like, I love Ed Sheeran. I think he's extremely talented. I look at him as like, I know he makes pop music, but I think he's one of the most talented like singer-songwriters ever. I
Mhm.
don't fault the guy for becoming like super mainstream and doing his thing like for world domination, but I'm a huge fan of his. And like my wife actually got me for Christmas off of his website his new album signed. Um that would have been sweet if he was selling his Funko Pop sign and like could have gone like
Yeah.
I think that's a great example of what artists should be doing on their websites, and tons of people would buy them, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Comedians do that. Look
Yeah,
at
you're
all the
right.
comedians.
Because
All
you're
the
not really
comedians
gonna be
sell
in
them
an
on their site.
environment where like you would meet a musician and like
Yeah.
have them
Yeah, you
sign
have meet
something
and
for you.
greets once in a while, but like
But
it's
they're
not the easiest thing to do, especially nowadays. So like like they do it with the comedian line. The comedian line is very small. It's obviously pretty new. There's only like 4 or 5 total actual comedians, and then there's a couple versions of them, like fluffy heads, like 6 of them. But when they release, they always usually have like a signed version and their regular version, and they sell on their site. And I know this obviously firsthand because I actually have the Joe Coy signed one.
Okay.
Because I went to his site when it dropped. They sold the regular version, and then for like a few bucks more, whatever it was, the autograph version. So I grabbed the autograph version. I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't have too many autograph pops. I'm a big fan of his in general. And I grabbed it. And that's one of the autograph ones I have. And that was like, it made sense because I was a fan of his. I followed his Instagram. I saw that was going to be a thing, and I went and I bought it. Versus if it was just a standard drop on Funko Shop, it probably would sit. There probably wouldn't be as many people necessarily grabbing it. And like, and like, I think that's what the music line, not that they can't sell it general public kind of thing, but I think that's where we need to see more exclusive ones or more of these versions directly to those actual sites and those people. I think that would make more sense to like, as far as selling. And obviously, like, I think they probably are selling them like either way because they clearly are still going to keep making the line. It's sad to see when it's like always the same artist again being redone versus them trying to figure out a way to get a different person. Like
I'm even thinking
I love
right
the
now,
Biggie Pops, and there's now another new Biggie Pop coming. And it's like, that's a pretty big line just of him. And I get it. He's amazing, but like, make a Kanye West, make a Jay-Z, like make some of these other people or try. And like, maybe they can't, like you said, maybe they don't want to be, or maybe there's so many crazy licensing rules and things with the labels and stuff. Like, who knows? That could be
if I was Funko though, like once again, like I'd be reaching out, at least trying, unless once again, they've already know from the past that it's just not worth their time and effort and it's not going to bring enough money in.
Yeah.
Because like I can just talk now, like another pop I wish I had, a Billy Joel pop. Like, how do they not make a Billy Joel one? Like, there's just so many.
They make Elton John, right?
I was just about to say, I think they do.
Because I feel like the one with like his glasses, I don't know why I'm picturing that as like a pop.
Check.
But
I was about to say Elton John, and then I'm like, you know what? I think they actually make one. So the fact that you think that, they probably do.
I think so. I don't know.
They do.
For sure.
They make.
Okay.
They make 3.
Okay.
They make him with like a white suit and his like crazy glasses.
Glasses, yeah. I remember seeing that one. Yeah.
And they have like a red, white, and blue one.
Okay, yeah.
That's just like an iconic outfit of his as well.
Yep. Which does make sense. I mean,
but then the other one, they actually only make 2. The third one is that same red and white and blue glittered version, which like
that's what they don't need to do.
He had many iconic outfits.
Yeah, make a different outfit, make a specific one. And not to just like go crazy on this, but let's talk about this. Why don't they make moments, but music moments? Why isn't there a music moments line? We talked about this with sports. Example. I think sports moments and music moments are something that they should make. They do it in movie moments, and we get why, and some make more sense than other ones. But with music, like a lot of times, like first of all, you see Elton John, what's probably attached to him? A piano. Right? He's sitting at a piano. Like that's him. So like, make him at a piano. They love making Freddie Mercury pops. Make him in that iconic wife beater sitting at the piano,
100%,
or the Live Aid. Like, make that be a moment. Like that would, and if they don't want to go crazy because they don't know if it'll sell, they don't want to make it a con, make it an exclusive. Like, make that 1,000 piece, or even a 3,000 or 4,000 piece. Like whatever it is, make it more limited. That thing would be so sick. Us as collectors, we're begging to you. Like, we would love these things. Like, make these big iconic type of things. And like, there's enough of them. They can make, and then we're not talking about make 100 of them. Make these like a limited thing. But
I think Con exclusive is a perfect example for these like big ones. Like Billy Joel, for example, New York Comic Con exclusive. I mean, the guy basically
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, like do it. Like, come on, right there. That's like a perfect one, and like call it a day with him. Another person I can't believe they don't make is Lady Gaga. She's like
very extravagant, you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think they could
Like
do some
that
kind
one's
of.
like an easy one for them to make. And I feel like that would sell.
There's there's a lot. There's a
They
lot
need
of
to be
these
go
artists that
like,
I think they could
well,
do.
that's the thing. It's just like, and I bring up like the Taylor Swift again. Like her fans are insane. Even they've never bought a Funko Pop in their life. You make a Taylor Swift Funko Pop, they're buying the Taylor Swift Funko Pop. I think
Dude,
they need to do more of that in the music line. Is like seek out artists like that, and that could then bring people into Funko that
yeah.
didn't know about it.
Look at how and granted, I know she's very popular, and I'm going to tell you she was very very popular before she passed. But look at what happened with the Selena Pops.
Yeah.
Look at how big that blew up, and how some of those are crazy grails now because it was an exclusive, and it was just a Funko Shop exclusive. It wasn't even like a limited number exclusive, and that thing sold immediately, and it got popular and whatever. And just imagine what a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce, like
Yeah.
that level name, right? Like just imagine like something like that. Like it would be crazy. And it's like it's weird because like I get that they have Elvis and they have, but it's almost like
Not the
that's like
same.
not the same. Yeah, like I get that he's big and considered one of the greatest, king of rock and all that. But like popular like now, I don't know. It's not you can't compare that. I think like there's a difference in like
If you came out with an
what
Elvis,
right
a
now
new
people would
Elvis,
want.
yeah, a new Elvis Pop today, it's like,
They did recently. There was
yeah,
an Elvis Pop
and
didn't come out that
no
long ago.
one really like. I mean,
And it was just kind
I
of
like the, I like Elvis.
yeah.
Yeah, like King of Rock, like yeah, but people don't want that anymore. Like it's just not. I even look at like I don't want to bring up Jimi Hendrix again because I do love Jimi Hendrix, but like that other
But that's
exclusive
one,
is
yeah.
still sitting. And like I also love like I wouldn't have gone the route of making John Lennon pops. Like I would have went the route of making Beatles pops.
Yeah.
Like Paul McCartney is one of my favorites of all time, and like I want a Paul McCartney pop. At the same time, I don't want it to be a Paul McCartney line. I want
Yeah.
it to be a Beatles line.
Yeah, which is like what
Like,
they did with the John Lennon. They just made him and
yeah, it's just,
they
and it's
kind of
his looks from when he was like out on his own,
yeah.
which I mean, he's clearly allowing like that estate's allowing him to make pops. So it's just
Yeah. It
interesting.
it has to be that almost makes it seem like it's probably something with the Beatle
Yeah.
name and everything. Like there has to be a reason why they don't do those at all. Because like you said, those OG ones are very old. Like they're some of the original ones that they count that came in that pack, and they haven't made anything since then. I almost put them in that same like Michael Jackson range where it's like
Yeah, which
it
he
was
owned
so
their
big.
catalog at one point.
Yes, I know. So it could be connected. Could be the reason why his estate was like not. So it's interesting, but there's so many. We can keep going on. Like you guys can actually comment down below. Like I'm sure there's some people that you wish they made. Like let us know if there's certain artists that you're like, why don't they make this or this version? Or like what do you think about the idea of what I said with like the moments? Like I really think that's something they could totally do. They love making all these other random ones. So like do it with the music, like make music
Yeah.
moments. Like it could totally be
Well,
called music moments.
another cool thing I just thought of is I know we said we don't really want them repeating pops, but it's like when when a new movie comes out, a new TV show, that's when like new Funko Pops are coming out. When artists are dropping new albums, like that's probably a good time to come out with a new Funko Pop that has to maybe deal with that album. Because that's another issue with this line, I think, is like they just come out so randomly. Because like beforehand, I was like thinking there were certain pops that I did wish they make. And I'm like, oh wait, they actually do make like Aerosmith ones, for example. But like
Yeah,
I never even really knew they came out. Um,
yeah,
and that may be a bad example because they're not like a current band who's making music, but it's just like when a new album is dropping, like that's a good time to make a new pop of that person.
yeah.
Like
I
Kanye
think I
West
think
should be
they
getting a
almost
pop right now. Like,
yeah, and I think what's happening is like they're also trying to like they catch up on something. Like look at the Britney Spears. It's like, oops, I did it again. Like how old is that album? And
yes.
like that's the one that they want to do. And it's like okay, like granted she hasn't done music obviously in a while, but it kind of like yeah, Taylor Swift's putting out current albums. Like that's when they should be dropping something because it's
They're being
I
talked
would
about
think
then.
a business wise, it would be the most smartest thing to do when
Yeah.
it's the hottest. And like you said, they do it with movies, and it's like they just don't do that at all with music. It's kind of, you're just going to get random ones. And like you said, yeah, the way they drop them, it's just like, if you notice, like I'll go on Funko Shop and there'll just be a bunch of random ones, and they're not even part of these like fun, the fun TV things where they're announcing what's coming out. Like they're not a part of that. It's just like it'll be just a random drop of like a band or a random drop of a couple artists, and I'm like,
they get buried.
Why did I even know about this? Like I didn't even know this was gonna come out, or I didn't know this was, something that they were planning on releasing. And now I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So like what I find to be is like it ends up being that one where like, all right, I'll toss this in there because now I got free shipping. Because that was the one artist. I'm like, you know what, I'll throw this one in there because it's a cool musician or whatever it is. And I've done that a few times. And I'm like, I didn't even know about that. So yeah, it's definitely like maybe a marketing thing too. And there's a few things that I think we could give them some tips on. But yeah, that's that's my take on it. But yeah, like again, similar to like when we went on a rant with sports, it's something that obviously I know we're both passionate about, music for sure. But yeah, it's something that has a big following, different genres. There's stuff that's still missing. You could definitely, come out with more things. And I think they could fix a couple other things and stop dropping certain artists. Like if you drop another Jimi Hendrix album, I think Charlie's gonna go crazy. But
I am gonna go crazy.
We know that there's probably more coming, but who knows? But yeah, drop some of those other people first that we were talking about. But that's all I have for the music. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's everything. I mean, definitely underrated line. And though I do think I like where they're going with the pop albums, though, right now, I think that line's going to just get better and better. I think they've kind of found a nice little rhythm of how to make those be special and not generic. Because all the new ones that they seem to have announced recently, they really pop. And it's like, oh, wow, those are cool. I want to get those. And I think they're bringing that line more forefront. Like, I know you're an OG collector of those, but when they kind of came out, I was just like, oh, I don't really need this. And like they kind of like buried them and forgot about them. Like I didn't even realize how many they were.
Yeah, it took almost like a little bit of a break because they kind of stopped for a little while.
But I think that's the way to go right now with music.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the individual ones you're going to get them here and there. I think if they make them more of like an exclusive or con, or they come out with that big artist that we're talking about, I think that'll be a big deal. But I think transitioning to the albums is definitely something that is good. Not everybody can get them. They are obviously priced a little bit higher. They do take up room, so they're not like the easiest thing to collect. But I think it's their best transition into getting someone who's just a collector or likes certain music or collects vinyl, for instance. And it's a good piece to kind of put with that. And it's something like you said, where you can kind of pick and choose. You don't have to get every single one, because you can go after like the artist that you like or the band or whatever it is, and kind of do it. But I do like what they're going with it. And the latest ones, the deluxe ones, are the only ones that I'm a little like, they look awesome, but they're way too big in my opinion. I like the concept, but yeah, I think they're just.
I think they're a great, like, I look at, if like I was buying a present for someone who I know is like a huge, fan of X artist, like to me, that's like a good like present that they would like. They don't collect, they may not even collect Funko or not really know anything about it, that they could like hang up somewhere and like, and for all I know, that's what Funko is kind of like going after, people who do like hang up their vinyls on the wall, or stuff like that. And it's like, that's the only Funko Pop they're ever going to get.
That's exactly how I feel about the poster line, the new movie poster line.
Yeah,
I think that could totally be for somebody who's just a buff and just loves a specific movie or movies in general, and like they don't necessarily always collect pops or whatever. And like, you like you said, perfect wall piece, and like that's what it is. I think that even with the smaller albums, I think that can also be the same kind of situation where
I agree.
You don't have to be a hardcore collector. You could just be a fan of, Lil Wayne, and they have the Carter one, and it's like, all right, cool. So that's a nice gift, that kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. But that's going to be it for our episode. Thank you everyone for sticking around. Please make sure to chime in. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that you guys can debate about and talk about down in the comments. If you are watching here on YouTube, like we always say, make sure that you are subscribed and following us on Instagram as well. And like this video for us, please. That'll really help us out. And feel free to, send us messages. Like we always say, Charlie always says, let us know about some other topics, because now we're getting into a point where we're trying to think outside the box and think about some other episodes. So we want to know kind of some stuff that maybe you guys want to hear. you want to hear us talk about. We may be revisiting some topics even, we've been doing
Yeah.
enough of them that I think there's enough time that we can start revisiting some as well, but we'll do that in the future, but let us know for sure. That's going to be it from me. Anything last words for you, Charlie?
Yeah, just definitely comment. I really want to know some artists that you all really wish they made, because there's obviously so much music out there in the world that like we couldn't even have time to talk about. And I would just like to know, yeah, what Funko Pops do you think they should be making, or even like maybe iconic music video like characters that like a musician has made, but it's not of them, that they can make a pop for 'em. I think that'd be interesting as well. So yeah, it's like Mick said, just like comment and subscribe, and we really appreciate all your guys' support.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Everyone have a good one.
Bye, everyone.